Welcome to Daily Bread. As always, this reading is timeless, which means whenever you find this message, or whenever this message finds you, is when you're meant to see it. So please take what resonates and leave the rest for someone else. The energy's already been cleared. Let's get started. Let's start by asking Source, what's the energy we need to focus on for this message? Source, what is the energy we need to focus on for this message? Source, what is the energy that we need to focus on for this message? What's the energy we need to focus on for this message? Patience, right off the bat. So Source is showing me someone right now who has a lot going on. You're busy, almost to the point of overwhelmed. And it's interesting because when we get into these situations where it seems like the world is outpacing us and it's moving so much faster than we can keep up with, including the stream and river of our own lives, one thing that we are always asked to do in those situations, and it's the hardest thing and it's the last thing you feel like doing. I see someone who has been literally pacing. You can't sit still. You've been like, you just have so much energy because you always feel like there's something to be done and you just got to get the next thing, and you keep running up against walls and someone's holding you up here, but you're trying to get this done. Source is saying, be patient. Take a breath. Time is an illusion. It belongs to us. It always keeps passing. And when we are talking about our lives, if our life is a recipe, time is an ingredient. So please, let's dig deeper into the tarot. Take what resonates with you, leave the rest for someone else. If it's resonating with you, please press that like button, follow, share. And I'm also seeing someone who has been who's been struggling with anger. I'm seeing someone who's been really angry lately and and angry that they're not where they think they're supposed to be in life. And I see someone who feels like they're behind the curve. But yeah, again, Source is saying patience. Let's dig deeper into this with the tarot because there's a lot of downloads coming through. What else can you tell us about patience? I'm not going to take those. Those was a bad shuffle. Bingo. Yep. So I'm seeing the King of Wands, the Three of Cups, and the Star card. Yep. So what I'm seeing is somebody has goals. Somebody has set some goals. Somebody set some intentions. Somebody did some planning, and you had goals for your relationships, and you had goals for your career life. You had goals for your personal life. You had goals for going to the gym. Somebody had a lot of goals, and somebody has been putting in a lot of energy and praying and hoping and trying to stay on their path. And you are just looking around and you are like, okay, God, I've been doing my part. Where are you? And God is saying, in you. So with this King of Wands and this patience, what I'm seeing here is Source is saying it takes a different type of inner strength to exercise the type of patience that you're going to need to get to the place that you're going to go. Because when we let ourselves get carried away by that fire inside of us, that strength inside of us can turn toxic. So what Source is saying to you is when you cannot get your energy outside of you, ground yourself. And Source is saying, where do you ground yourself? You ground yourself in your relationship with Source, and you ground yourself in your relationship with yourself. So Source is telling you right now, you need to do some things that are self-care, and you need to do some things that are self-care also in your relationships. So I see someone who has been so busy and so strong in taking care of their business. And I really see someone who is taking care of business. But I also see someone who feels like if they make one wrong move, everything will just fall to pieces. And Source is saying, have more faith than that. So when we start feeling stressed, it's because of all of the doubt that we feel. And there are things that we can do to give ourselves reassurance. So with this King of Wands, what I'm seeing is reinforcing or reassuring your confidence in the skills that you have developed and in the strengths that you have. And I'm also, since I'm seeing this with the Star card, is reinforcing your strength and your faith for the seeds that you have sown and believing that the efforts that you have made will come back to pay off. And I'm also seeing that someone is being asked to, reinforce their strength in terms of how they interact with the people around them. So I see someone who has maybe been a little irritable, and maybe you've lashed out a little bit at some of the people closer to you. But what I'm seeing is, like, if you're having some stress in your family or some stress in your friend circle, you were the problem. And it's okay for you to say, I'm sorry. Oh, that's a different type of reading. That's a different type of reading. So what I'm saying is, when I say you're the problem, what I'm saying is your energies were not grounded in the right place, and maybe you weren't being patient. And when we are not patient, we do run into issues with other people. We run into issues with our goals. We run into issues in all areas in our lives, because everybody deserves the patience. But patience is a self-disciplined skill, and people value your patience in you, because patience is what keeps your heart light. Patience is what keeps you a sweetheart. Patience is what keeps you grounded and focused here in reality. So I see somebody who's going to start doing some visualization exercises, whether you're visualizing your thoughts as leaves on a stream so that you can stay grounded and that active energy clears it away. I see somebody doing the waterfall technique, where when you feel overwhelmed from what's going on around you, or emotions and situations in your environment, or internally or externally, where you imagine that there's a waterfall bubble around you that is basically clearing out any energies from your field that aren't yours. So that way you can focus on what's inside of you. So let's go to the oracle and see what actions or advice that we have with patience, and how patience in our relationships, and how patience in ourselves, and how giving ourselves the time that we need. Because when we're not patient, what we're usually doing is we're rushing to fulfill an obligation for someone else, and we're not rushing to fulfill our obligations to ourselves. So that's why what I'm seeing here is so many different ways to engage in patience and nurture patience in yourself. And in doing so, it affects your relationships. So a change in the wind. So one of the things that I'm always talking about here is, when you are feeling in these areas where you're irritable, where you're overwhelmed, where you feel pushy, where you feel like you just have to be a bull in the china shop, source is telling you to change something. You are getting a breath of fresh air right now, and this is a change in the wind for you. Things are about to start going a different direction. When you turn on your patience and you start listening and you start receiving mode, and you go into receiving mode instead of action mode, you'll be able to see better ways to navigate through your path, and you won't have to spend and overspend so much energy. Source is telling you your faith is there, and your seeds have been sown, and you will be rewarded, and it's coming soon. So let's go finally to the Loving Universe Major Arcana and see what lessons that we have to go along with patience and a change in the wind. I'll take them both. The Emperor and the Devil. Yeah. So the lesson with the Emperor is, when we have ambitions, we have to make sure that we have enough energy for our ambitions. So what the Emperor is saying is, clarify your goals and make sure that you understand exactly what you need to reach them. You may be spending more energy than you need to be spending to get what you're trying to get. Maybe you need to take some patience, sit on your emperor's throne for a little bit, and get a wide objective view of the situation, so that way you can see more clearly where to direct your energy. And the devil card is a reminder for us that what you see is what you get, but sometimes you're getting things that you're not seeing. So the devil is asking us, with what is it that you are getting that you're not seeing? So along the line, when you were making your goals, you had a vision, you had a very specific way that it looked, and you are going to start getting those, but sometimes you get things that you don't see. So that's why it's important to get into this emperor state and get as objective as possible, and take a step back and really ground yourself in your patience, so that you can take a look at, what are you manifesting subconsciously that maybe isn't what you want, and how can you get into better control of that by exercising your patience. So that's the reading that I have for you. Again, if this resonated, please like, follow, share, and I will see you next time.